Hey everybody, Jamie here. I am the developer of Geeked-Out Basketball. So what is Geeked-Out Basketball, do you ask? Well, I'm glad you did, because that's the purpose of this video. In one sentence, it's a deep tactical basketball simulation game. I've been developing this game for a number of years, and I'm going to give you a peek into where it stands right now. The headline is the back end. I've written this deep sim engine in Python. The backend is working as intended. There's a lot going on the back end, and now I'm in the process of taking that simulation and turning it into a game that is fun to play. And there's really two main things I'm working on with that. Number one, you're going to see is just the animation system. I launched this as a text-only test on mobile back in, I think, 2022. And what I found was there's definitely a market for deep tactical sports simulation games, but it can't be text only. We need to have something going on screen. So that's what I've been working on. And then the other thing I'm working on is just bringing all of the goodness and the depth that's happening in that back end simulation engine and bringing it up to the front end so that you as gamers, when you play this game, you can get feedback on your decisions. You can start to deduce what's working and what's not working, etc. So where do I stand right now? Still have a lot of work to do. But I do want to get this thing launched within the next few months. And so I figured let's start telling the world about it at this point. So I'm just going to walk you through where I stand right now. I haven't launched anything to live yet. If you do want to get on the email list, go to gobalpha.com. That's gobalpha.com, and drop your email address in there. And then we will let you know when the playable alpha goes live. What you're seeing right now is a test environment. It's really raw, it's really rough, but it's going to start to give you a sense for where this game is going. And this game, it's a new kind of basketball sim. You see the headline there. It's built for coaches. It's not built for button mashers. So if you're looking for a basketball simulation game that's going to challenge you more on your coaching skills, your strategic skills, etc., and less so much on like button mashing or how you maneuver a joystick, this is the game for you. So let's just jump in. I'm just going to show you where we're at right now. So we'll go here. Again, there's really been no design applied to any of this yet. I have some developers working with me on this, but I'm also using a lot of AI tools, Cursor, Codex, and just really like using that to bring my vision to life. And I'm going to start here and really show you the heart of the game. And what the heart of the game is these player attributes. So what you're going to see is every player in the game has 12 attributes, and they go as follow. SC is scoring. That's their ability to score on the inside. Shooting is outside shooting. Inside defense, outside defense, passing, ball handling, rebounding, agility, strength, endurance, basketball IQ, and then free throw shooting. These go on a scale of, they really go on a scale of 0 to 100, but we want to leave a little bit of mystery in terms of the attributes you're seeing. So we reduce these to one integer. So for example, Xenon Flesher here, you see he has a scoring attribute of 3. That means his real value is somewhere between 30 and 39. So we're just displaying the first integer. And then what you'll find is that as you start developing and coaching developing your players and coaching your team, you're going to get a sense for who's maybe on the upper end of this that you can maybe with a little training push up another point and that type of stuff. And then the other thing to note as well too is while our scale is 1 or 0 to 100, technically it's actually 1 to 100. There are no zeros. Really special players with special attributes can get up into the 110s, and you might even see a few 120s. So you could see some 11s, you might even see some 12s, but that's really the heart of what this is. And then, so these player attributes are really going to end up being the core of how you're going to build your strategies and manage your teams. Every player also has height and weight, etc. And what we've done is we've got 8 teams right now who are part of this, who are sort of like, the out-of-the-box teams you can play with. As we start developing this game and getting user feedback, I can tell you one thing that I heard when I launched the prototype on mobile a few years ago is people do want the ability to create their own teams. So that's definitely going to be a feature that we're going to add into this at some point as well too. How soon we do it, I guess, is really going to be dependent on you all. Those of you who are playing this, if that's something that you really want in here relative to other features that we're building, we can get that in there pretty quickly. But that being said, you can have some fun with these 8 teams. Each team has their own like color scheme, uniforms, logos, as well as their own team personality. So, are you someone who likes to coach like sort of like bully physical defensive teams? Then you should maybe look at Lancaster and some of their guys. Do you want to do more run and gun, a lot of full court pressing and fast breaks? Then the Four Corners Harvest is the team for you. You can kind of play into these, and I'll dive deeper into these teams as we get into future dev diaries as well too. But right now we have 3 game modes that you can play. There's scrimmage, which is just a one-time game. There's tournaments where you can play a tournament. And the way that works is you get here, you choose which team you want to coach as. Again, don't judge the design. We're going to upgrade the design on all of this. This is me and AI designing this. But what happens is you choose your team, then it's going to randomly generate a bracket. And then you're really just going to play an 8-team tournament. And it's kind of cool. Like the tournament will keep track of statistical leaders in various categories like points, 3-pointers, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. We're going to flesh out the stats even more. There's a lot of deep stats tracking that goes in here. Just to kind of give you a sense, we keep track of when players attempt to set a screen and if that screen attempt is successful or not. We keep track of all of their defensive instances. So, when is a player taking a shot against them? Is it successful or not? When are they guarding a player on a fast break? There's going to be a really deep set of statistics that go into this as well too, because I know that that's the type of thing that sports simulation gamers love. This game, like playing the games is going to be a lot of fun, but there's going to be the game within the game where you can step back, you can look at your scouting notes, you can look at your deep stats, you can start to figure out, how should you be adjusting your team, etc. So that's how tournament mode works. And then let's just jump back real quick. And then franchise mode is a similar sort of thing. You would choose your team. And then what this will do is this will play an entire season. It generates a 14-game schedule. You play all 7 of your conference opponents twice, once at home, once away. And then at the end of the season, it's going to have a conference tournament that's seeded 1 through 8. Again, we're going to blow this out and make it much larger than just 8 teams. But for the start, this is the 8 team. And then at the end of the year, your seniors are going to graduate. All of your players are going to age by year, and then you can go into recruiting. And we do generate a set of recruits. Right now, I need to work on the logic a little bit. It's generating too many centers as your recruits. But what's interesting is you can kind of come in here during your franchise seasons, and you can watch how some of these players develop and start to figure out who do you want to focus on recruiting come the off season to fill out your team. And I'm going to get more into recruiting and how that works in future videos, but just know that this is going to be a pretty, I think, fun component for sports sim gamers to play. At the end of the day, franchise mode is going to be the crown jewel of this game. This is going to be the thing that I think that sports sim gamers really want to play. That being said, I just want to show you where we're at right now and kind of some of the components of the game that's in development. So let's just go to scrimmage mode. Right now for scrimmage mode, you can choose which team you want to coach. So let's just choose Bentley Truman, and let's just put them against Morristown just for the sake of giving us an opponent. And then you'll press play now. And then what we have here is we have a lineup screen where you can set your starting lineup, and you can really have 2 types of views. There's this, what we call the grid view, which is pretty straightforward, pretty much data here. It shows all 12 players. It gives you their recommended position. This is really the position that they're the highest rated at, but any player can play in any position. You have free reign to put a player and build any type of starting lineup that you want. And then it'll give you their height, their weight, all of their attributes. And then this is where their energy currently stands as well too. So as you get into tournament mode and franchise mode, depending on how aggressively you manage training and practices with your players, sometimes they might start with energy levels a bit low, below 100%. But that'll kind of show you that. You can also look here at player view. If you click this up here, And then this shows you the player's headshots. And then we've built a UI here where it automatically cues the player's highest rated position, but you can also see their ratings at every other position as well too. And again, these ratings go on a 0 to 100 scale. And it naturally sorts the players in descending order based on their highest ranked position. So you can see the highest rated player for Bentley Truman is Xenon Fletcher, who's a 93 rated point guard. Then there's Kermit Prospect, who's an 87 rated center, etc. There's a guy here like Ronnie Rozier. You can kind of see he's really versatile. You can pretty much use him anywhere. He's an 81 small forward, but he's an 80 shooting guard, 74s at point guard center, and even 70 at power forward. And the reason for that is that he's 6'5", 222, so he's physically pretty versatile. But you can flip a player's headshot here and go to the back of their card. And oops, let's do that. Didn't mean to do that. Yeah, I need to work on this UX a little bit. But you can kind of see here. Oh, yeah, I had this working before. Bear with me. I really need to work on this UX. But you can kind of go back here and you can see all of their attributes on this scale as well too. And right now you got to drag, you got to scroll down a little bit to see all of their attributes. I'm going to work on the layout so that all 12 of their attributes and their energy sit above the fold. When you flip, that's on the roadmap. So what you can do is just do a simple drag and drop functionality and put the players in here. Again, we're going to make this more robust where you actually see player images in your starting lineup. We'll probably end up giving sort of like recommended game plan leans based on the lineup you're putting into play. But then what you do is you set your starting lineup, and then right now you go then to set your game plan, and you have 10 components that you can manage with your game plan. Again, we're playing with all this. This is all coded really deeply into the game engine though. The first thing you're going to decide is how much offensively do you want to run motion versus set plays. I'm going to publish some tutorials to go into more depth on the trade-offs and the advantages and disadvantages of each one of these. But the way to think about motion is pretty much motion is going to use a lot of screens. It's going to use a lot of movement, a lot of spacing. And then there's really any of your 5 starters can be touching the ball, taking the shot, etc. And then also it's going to be really reliant upon reading and reacting by your players, like them realizing if there's a point in the motion offense where they have the opportunity for a drive, or maybe they recognize that their teammate who's maybe on the post is, has good position posting up the guy defending them. They'll pass the ball to them. It's really reliant upon balance. Any player can have a role in the offense on this one, and then reading and reacting. And then you need really, like, the better your team chemistry is, the better motion offense you're going to run. Set plays is where you can get a little bit more, exercise a bit more control as the coach. So you can use set plays that will make sure, ideally that your shooting guard is going to get set up for an outside shot, or a pick and roll where your point guard is driving to the basket and your center set the pick for him is going to be rolling and then make the play. But you can really, these are set more on less about read and react, and these are more about execution. So I think a good rule of thumb is if you have a pretty smart team who's well conditioned, you can use more motion offenses. If you have a talent advantage, especially at specific positions, you can call specific set plays to get the ball in the hands of the players you want to make plays. And then inside attack and offense, you pretty much just set your tendencies to, based on the set plays and then the motion. For set plays, this will determine the focus of the set plays that you're calling. So if you say you set inside to most and then you pull back on attack and you set outside to never, then roughly 80% of your set plays that are called are going to be inside focus, getting the ball to the block, getting the ball to your big guys. One note here, you cannot set all 3 of these to 0. You need to have at least one with a value to it. And then everything that has a value above 0, the play calls will be called relative to each other. So if you do this, 2 for inside, 1 each for attack and outside, you're twice as likely to call an inside play as you are an attack play. You're also twice as likely to call an inside play as you are an outside play. That also holds true if you set it like this, right? 4-2-2. It's all relative to each other. So again, twice as likely, twice as likely. Roughly with this, 50% of your play calls are going to be inside, and then 25% are going to be attack, and 25% are going to be outside. The way that these settings impact your motion offense is that it's going to steer the reads and the focus of your players. So if you have something like this set up, your players are going to be more inclined to look for opportunities inside. Whereas if you have something like this set up, your players are going to be significantly more inclined to look for opportunities to drive to the basket or look for a teammate who maybe has a defender with less agility guarding him to get him the ball in the spot where he can drive to the basket. And if you just want everything, if you want to keep your opponent off balance, just set everything to 2, and then you're going to have a perfect mix of all 3. Tempo. This is going to determine how much your offense is looking to execute the half-court sets versus fast breaks. Now note, there are only 2 instances in the game where your team can execute fast breaks. One is off of a defensive rebound, and then another is off of a steal. So when they make a steal, they're always going to be looking to fast break. So this really determines what they're looking to do in transition off of a defensive rebound. Half-court sets, you bring a lot of basketball knowledge into this. It's going to be like this relies on real-world basketball knowledge, this game does. So half-court sets are just going to be more about running your half-court offense, right? Whereas if you're leaning more into fast breaks, then you're going to be pushing the tempo, pushing the pace, looking for a lot of buckets in transition. You're going to want to have your guys well-conditioned, high-endurance scores if you're going to be doing a lot of fast breaks. Typically, transition tends to work pretty well, but your guys are going to fatigue pretty quickly. And so you're either going to need to have a deep bench, a really well-conditioned team, a combination of the 2. And you also want to be mindful of who you're playing against. If you have a significant talent advantage, maybe don't over-engineer the fast breaks. Maybe just pull them down to like this setting in the middle. Like this is 50-50. This right here would say 75% half-court sets, 25% fast breaks. Maybe you do that and you just rely on your talent advantage to execute half-court sets over your opponent if you have the talent advantage. Again, there's a lot of strategy and just a lot of actual basketball knowledge that goes into playing this game. Defense, you want to play 100% man? Do you want to play 100% zone? Do you want to do 50-50 or a 75-25 lean either way? That's what this is. Again, zone, your players are going to fatigue a bit less. You're going to be more susceptible to giving up outside shots. And then you're going to be less prone to like being susceptible to screens, etc. But you could be more susceptible to a defensive mismatch. If you're playing zone, your opponent's going to know where your defenders are setting up. And let's say you have a defender who has poor agility and your opposition has a very athletic player who, with great agility, good at driving to the basket, he's strong, a good finisher, they'll find ways to get him the ball to take. If they're a team with good chemistry and high IQ players, they're going to find ways to get that player the ball in a position that's going to mismatch him in that zone defense. Whereas man, if you're confident that you've got the defenders and the athletes and the ball players to execute man defense, that's going to help you a lot in terms of avoiding being mismatched, avoiding being too susceptible to giving up a lot of open outside shots. Aggression, you can set it as passive, super aggressive, right down the middle, or a lean either way. It's just, you'll start to get a sense for this, but you're going to be more inclined to force turnovers, but you're also going to fatigue faster and commit fouls, more fouls with higher aggression. You're going to be more aggressive on, you're going to set better screens if you're playing more aggressively, but again, there's also going to be a higher risk of committing offensive fouls. You're going to be more aggressive on the offensive boards, but then a higher risk of over the back fouls, etc. And then here's just half-court traps and full-court presses. How much do you want to execute those? These, again, are like high-risk, high-reward type of things here. So you're going to want to have the right type of personnel and the right type of matchup advantages if you're going to be running really heavy full court press or half court traps. One thing to note about presses and traps, you can only set those up after a made shot, whether it's a made regular shot or a free throw. You cannot set these up if the opponent is coming off of a defensive rebound. When that happens, your team is just focused on are they pushing a fast break transition? Otherwise, we just got to get back on defense and prep for the half court offense. And then lastly is rebounding. And this just really determines how much do you want to crash the boards for offensive rebounds versus how much do you want to get back on defense and guard against the transition. Still nuancing this a little bit and the right way to do it, but right now the way it's coded is that if you do this 100% get back on D, your two guards are always on every shot by your opponent, by your team. If they're not the shooter, both of your guards are going to get back. If one of the guards is the shooter, then just the other guard is going to get back, but you'll always have a guy getting back on defense if this is the case. Whereas here, you're going to have no guys getting back. So you're going to be getting more offensive boards, but you're going to be very susceptible to giving up more transition baskets. All right, so those are the settings. You'd press these here, save and continue. You've set your game plan. And then right now, the way the game works is that now that you've done this, the whole quarter has been simulated on the back end. One of the first updates we're going to do is we're going to make it so it's simulating one turn at a time. So you can you can make play calls, you can call timeouts, make substitutions, etc. That functionality is not in here right now. Right now, it just simulates the full quarter with the lineups that we have in place. But that's also something that we're going to be working on moving forward. And then you just press play quarter, and now you watch the game unfold. And this part is going to be more than, and by the way, the animation here, don't judge the animation. There's a lot of work to do on it. You're going to see my defensive placement sloppy. The ball tweening isn't working how I want to. The way this is all working is everything is working well on the back end, but the front end needs to be fixed. Like, see here, this rebounding gets a little bit weird. That's one little bug that we're working on. We're giving some feedback here in terms of, when a player gets a rebound, makes a shot, etc. A lot of misses happening right now. They pushed a fast break and then they made it. Okay. And then you kind of see the scoreboard here. And then this is always going to be telling you kind of like roughly tempo and aggression, what's each team setting that they're playing with. Up here, you're going to see the play calls. Are they calling a set play or motion? What focus does it have, inside attack or outside? And then is your opponent playing a man defense or a zone defense? A few other things as well, too. You're going to see players in the box score are going to be different colors. If they have green, that means they're very well rested. Yellow means they're kind of starting to fatigue. Orange means they're getting tired. And then red means they're pretty much gassed. And so as you get into the ability to call timeouts and make substitutions in real time, that's going to become more relevant. Right now, this is just kind of for you to be taking in as you're watching the game simulate. One thing you're going to do is this, as you play the game, it's going to be less about just sitting back and watching, but there's going to be a lot of information going on here. Again, we don't have it all here. We're going to have more stats to choose from. Like, we're going to show players' fouls. We're probably going to have more tabs. We are going to have more tabs up here that's going to show you how players, how many blocks do they have? How many steals do they have? How are they performing from screen execution, defense execution? We're going to have a whole set of team stats down here that are updating in real time as well, too. And so part of this, when you're able to make strategy adjustments in real time and call timeouts and make player adjustments, that's going to be a big component of this. This whole part here, I'm kind of calling it ABC, always be coaching. There's going to be a lot of information that we're going to be feeding into here. And it's really going to be on you, the coach, to figure out where do you want to focus your attention, where do you want to focus your energy, and then make adjustments as needed. So that's an initial overview of Geeked Out Basketball. I got a lot more to share. This is literally just the beginning. But this should start to give you a sense for what type of game this is. If you have any specific questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below, and I'll make sure I answer them. Right now, I'm pretty much treating these dev diaries. I'm going to do one a week, and they're going to be kind of a stream of consciousness, but I really want to use it to share with you all the updates that are going into the game, and answer any questions that you might have. Here you can kind of see a full court press is being run right now, and they broke it. Yeah, so they beat the press. Now they're entering their half court offense, and they missed it, but they got the offensive rebound, kicked it back out for half court execution. Yeah, it's only 5-2. The defenses are playing well this game right now. There they got a defensive rebound. Morristown did. So I'd love to hear just any type of feedback you all have right now. Like, one thing I'm playing with is, are the player circles with their position and their jersey number compelling enough? Or should I design player sprites so it's a little bit more clear, like which player is where, who's making plays, who's doing things, etc. So I'm going to come in with probably more questions and more things to talk about for my next dev diary. Again, I'm really working on the animation system and then getting the feedback to to you guys, the gamers, so you understand the impact of your decisions that you're making, etc. So again, if you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. And then also, if you want to be on the email list so you know exactly when a playable alpha goes live so you can play it, go to gobalpha.com and leave your email address, and I'll put that link in the description below as well. Okay, thank you so much, and I hope everyone has a great day. Bye-bye.